everyone, welcome. So for today, we'll be doing a review on our on-hand album sleeves and mini photo card sleeves, focusing on this new brand. So case sleeves for Kpop collectors. Okay, so this is a local brand. So this is from the Philippines, sorry. Okay, so this brand has something for album photo cards, which is 56 by 87 millimeters, and something for mini photo cards, which is 70 by 100 millimeters. So as for its specifications, so this brand is 100 microns, or what is usually referred to as the hard sleeves. And then this is already stated to be PVC and acid free, so it's archival safe. And this is made of polypropylene material, or PP material, which is the one that is usually used for those plastic sleeves described to be acid-free. And its size stated here is 56 by 87 millimeters. Okay, so that's for our album photo card sleeves from Case Sleeves. And then just for you to see the details for the mini photo card, so this is also 100 microns, or the hard sleeve, and is also PVC and acid-free, archival safe. Also made from polypropylene, and its size is 70 by 100 millimeters. Okay, and one pack of them are composed of 50 sheets. Okay, so first let's focus on the album photo card sleeve. So I already marked these sleeves with this stickies, because earlier I already tried to do a review, but I kept on getting confused which one is which when they're already on my hand. And so let me compare these first. So we have the popcorn game sleeve. So for those who haven't watched my previous videos or are not familiar with popcorn game card sleeve, so this is actually imported from Korea, as you can see here. So this is from the popcorndu.co.kr. Okay, and this is 100 microns, so this is also a hard sleeve similar to the case sleeves. And this is also stated to be 56 by 87 millimeters, but when I try to compare their size, as you can see here, the K brand sleeve is actually quite smaller compared to the popcorn game sleeves, or PCG. It's like a millimeter smaller. Okay. Oh yeah, the blue one is the K brand. And so when I checked the Kpop edition from Sultan, so this Kpop edition is actually 55 by 86 millimeter. So this should be like 1 millimeter smaller from 56 by 87 millimeter that is stated here. And when I compare them, they are actually the same size. Okay, so it's because sometimes they use the term, for example, 55 by 86 millimeter. That's probably the size of the sleeve itself. Meanwhile, for 56 by 87 here, it meant that it can fit those that are of the size smaller than that one, or around 55 by 86 millimeter. So in this case, these actually fit the album photo cards, although a bit fitter or snuggier compared to the 56 by 87. Okay, and then when it comes to quality, so actually Sultan doesn't have a specification on whether how many microns it has. Does it? Nope, it doesn't. As you can see, it just states that it's acid free, but nothing on the microns. But when I try to feel it, they actually feel quite the same, similar to this one, which is advertised as a hard and is 100 microns as well. So yeah, I wouldn't say that it's 100 microns, but it feels like one. And when it comes to quality, Honestly, Key brand seems to be a bit cloudier compared to the other two. So let me just show you. I'm not quite sure if it will be visible that much in the video, but there. Can you see that a bit of cloud comparing to the PCG and Sultan? Okay, but so that might be its cons, but of course everything among here has its own pros and cons. But actually that cloud doesn't really affect that much when you put the PC inside. It's just that when you compare them. But the pro with the key sleeves would be its price, because this is 100 and less compared to PCG, which needs to be imported from Korea. This is actually pretty cheap if you are living in Korea, but because we are not, so there are a lot of importation costs from either you import them yourself or you buy it from resellers, so it will have that additional price, markup price. That's why this can be quite a bit more expensive compared to this one. And then Sultan sleeves, this could actually be interchangeable when it comes to which would be costlier, because as I have mentioned before, the price for this one is totally dependent on where you buy it, okay, and how you buy it. Meanwhile, Sultan is quite available in the market, but is still much more a little bit more expensive compared to key sleeves. But yeah, its pro would be it's a bit more clearer compared to the K brand, but it doesn't really affect that much when you use it on an album sleeve. So just for you to see that it doesn't really affect that much. So here I put Tete. There, can you see there isn't really that much difference in the color and the quality. So yeah, and as you can see now, as I mentioned earlier as well, it's pretty fit all around. And even though it's supposed to be the same size, 56 by 87, 56 by 87, because this is like more similar to the Kpop edition sleeve when it comes to size, you can use the PCG as a second layer. See, it fits inside the PCG because it's a millimeter smaller, so I wouldn't be able to push it inside. And I think that's where the premium 59 by 92 can go in. So there are some photo cards that are a bit bigger than 55, but another use for 59 by 92 is to use it as a third sleeve. So if I remove this, you can see that it will fit everything. See, so now your photo card has that third sleeve. It will have that third sleeve. Okay, but that's just for demonstration. Okay, or well, okay. Although now that I look at it, it might cause some creases inside, and not really crease, but because it's the difference is just a millimeter, it might not be that flattened out. Okay, yeah, you can totally use it for triple sleeving. There, I think it had fit better. There. Yeah, maybe it's just a problem with how I put it earlier, but then using the 59, I can do, just this a tip. If you're going to make a lot of sleeving, you can put it on the opposite side, or on where it's open, so that it will be quite sealed. So there, now we have taking on a triple sleeve. Okay, so I used K-brand as the first one, 56 by 87 of popcorn game sleeves as the second one, or you can use the Sultan. It's also 56 by 87, and then the 59 by 92. Okay, so this is how it will look like. So it's pretty hard, and you won't necessarily need to put it in a top loader. You can put this already in a binder, and it will be a bit, I think I call it a +1 armor, to avoid dents on your photocard, dents or scratches, right? So there, it's quite protected. Okay, now moving forward, we have here a sample for key brand sleeves for the mini photo cards. So considering this is 100 microns, so let me compare it first with the Ultimate Guard. Ultimate Guard doesn't have any indication on how many microns it has actually, although it feels really thick. Okay, so how do I know the thickness? When I do it like this, so they're not flimsy, no, comparing to the soft one. So let me just get a soft one. So this one is a soft one from PCG. So this is just 50 microns. So here you can already see how it's bent compared to our key sleeves. You see, it's pretty flat. So it shows how hard it and how thick it is compared to a soft sleeve. Okay, similar with this one. So there. So this might be a bit more bent considering that this is 122. Yeah, it's 122 millimeters. So it's a bit longer compared to this one. Yeah, but nonetheless, it's pretty thick. And then when it comes to its clarity or clearness, this is a bit cloudier. So Ultimate Guard is cloudier compared to the popcorn game sleeves. Although honestly, this feels thicker. But yeah, since it doesn't have any indication how many microns it is, it's hard to say really. Now let us compare the K-brand sleeves to the hard popcorn game sleeves. So apologies that I don't have the Sultan one similar to the one below, but we do have the Mayday and Sleeve Kings. But first and foremost, so popcorn game card sleeves that we have is 70 by 120 millimeters compared to 70 by 100. So it's quite longer. And as you can see, it's actually pretty similar to the one earlier, which is slightly bent because of its length. Yeah. And then when it comes to its clearness, right now popcorn game sleeves actually seems a bit cloudier, but its cloudiness isn't that much. Okay, and then we have here a Mayday, so I just have one remaining Mayday. So Mayday, the one that I have here, doesn't have any indication of its microns as well, but this is the premium one. So this is also 70 by 120, and this is quite softer compared to PCG and the K brand. There, it's a bit more bent compared to the other one, right? So I'm not sure if this is also 60 microns. So this is actually so this is not 60. It's probably 80. I'm not really sure. So apologies for that. Or this is 100 as well, but yeah, it's hard to tell, really. But yeah, so Sleeve Kings, so the one that I have here is 110 millimeter, which is 60 microns Okay, so this is what I would classify as another soft sleeve. So there, you can see how bent it is comparing to Mayday. Okay, so that's Sleeve Kings for ya. And then if we compare it to our Ultimate Guard, so what I have here is the Mayday, right? Mayday and Ultimate Guard. Actually not that much difference, but when it comes to feels, this feels a bit thicker, the Ultimate Guard one. But because both doesn't have an indication on whether how many microns do they have, it's hard to tell as well. But okay, going back to our case sleeves. So what I noticed for this one is that I love its size. So its size is 70 by 100 millimeters. So it's the shortest one among all of them. So this is 122, 112, 110, 120, 120. I think there's a foreign brand from Slovenia, I guess. I'm not quite sure, but it's somewhere in Europe. There's another brand. I think it starts with that is also 100 millimeters or close to it. And I think the Hobby Game card sleeves that is also close to this one. But they are quite hard to take a hold of. And I haven't ordered them as well. That's why I think one of the best ones right now would be case sleeves if you don't want to cut your sleeves, no? Because if you're using binder, so diba isang rectangle lang yan na short, so it would usually need your sleeves to be fitting inside that binder, or even in top loaders, no? Because rather, I guess kapag top loader, wala ka masyadong problema. But if you're using side loader, you definitely need to cut it or else you will need to fold it. But yeah, I don't really advise folding either. But yeah, here are samples. So I already put Yungi inside a case sleeve. So I already mentioned a pro that its size is very, very good. It's really exact. As you can see here, let me remove this. As you can see, no? So its size is very, very fit, no? There. And then its thickness is really good at 100 microns. The only con with this one is that it's too snug, that it sometimes create this bent form on your PC. No, kasi usually PC would be straight, right? As you can see, it's a little bit bent. But if you put it inside a top loader, of course, that benty feel will be straightened out. For example, this one. So this is already in a case sleeve, so I already mentioned to you that I kind of like it. And because it's on a top loader, so it's quite flat already. No, but if you're using a binder, then that might not be favorable to you. But of course, it's up to your personal preference if it's okay with you. And I guess kapag nasa binder naman siya, diba, nasa-flat naman siya kasi daming patong-patong na pages yan. So, yeah. So, that's the only con that I know of. And as I mentioned earlier, diba, case sleeves is really, really cheap. So, it's around 100 or less lang. And so compared to the other ones, so among here, so cheapest is case sleeves. The most expensive would be Ultimate Guard, considering that this is from Europe. So I think this is designed in Germany. There you can see this one is Germany. Yeah. So that would apply to these two. And then I think after case sleeves, the next cheaper one would be Sleeve Kings. And then popcorn game sleeves will again be dependent on where you're going to buy it, because it needs to be imported from Korea. So either you import it, you buy it from a reseller who will sell it to you, depending on how much they will mark it up. No? And then we have the Mayday game card sleeve. So I really use this one. Although it's a favorite among game card collectors, I believe. No, so it's quite popular, as you can see here, like WOTR. So this is the brand this is the go-to brand by game card collectors, and is quite popular in that area. And so, as you know, game card collectors are also very passionate when it comes to safeguarding their cards. I know a lot of my friends play card games, and yeah, it's quite the same with us. But yeah, it's up to you. If it's up to your preference and probably what's available on your end. But all of these are available in my shop. Oh, maybe not these. I haven't posted these ones, sorry. But it's pretty much available in the market. And as I mentioned also in my tweet, key sleeves is also going to be available in my shop. So I get it directly from the creator of these sleeves, or rather, well, who are the maker of this? Big Kpop collector. So this brand is actually created by a Kpop collector. So they specifically had this created in China. And I just don't want you also to worry. Actually, it's one of my first queries as well. Because when I asked where was it created, considering that we are from the Philippines, and it's quite unfamiliar and unsure on whether, how sure are we that this is a really acid-free, right? Because we want to safeguard our photo cards. So, well, the creator was able to produce a somehow digital certificate that that the company that they got this from used polypropylene. And actually, when I looked before already, I noticed that all of these other brands are also made in China. See, it's from Korea, but it's made in China. Sultan sleeves are also, well, it doesn't have any made in China. Okay, so I'm not sure about Sultan, where it's made from. And actually, Ultimate Guard is also made from China. Made in China. Fabric there. Made in China, yeah. But it's designed and engineered in Germany. That's why it's expensive. And then, so Sleeve Kings. Sleeve Kings is also made in China. So you see, there's a lot of these sleeves are actually made in China. Even Mayday is also made in China. But yeah, I guess it's up to you which one you will trust. And I think I haven't mentioned another thing is that I have tried here. So because this is fairly bent already, and I told you this is very snug, it's also quite hard to put in your photo cards. But just put it in gently and slowly. Yeah, I can do it, Jimmy. Yeah, as you can see, I had to go very slow, and I think for those that are really photo card collectors, it's not advisable that I touch it, right? I should have used gloves, but it's also hard to put. It would be very hard if you're using gloves and then putting this inside. Nah, as you can see, I'm already using my plain hands, and it can hardly go inside. And I think I'll just put it later on, but yeah, it's pretty hard to put in, but the pro would be it's really fit. It's a good fit, especially if you're putting in the binder, and it's really cheap. Okay, well, I think that's it. Feel free to comment or DM me in my Twitter if you have any questions on these brands. Okay, and personally, what I use currently is popcorn game sleeves is what I usually use recently for album PCs. But let's see. I'm willing to try this new brand, especially that's a local brand, so why not support, right? And then for mini photo cards, what I usually use is also the hard popcorn cane sleeves and double sleeve it with this one. So here's an example. Ta-da! So I have a photo card cutter. So I use that photo card cutter to cut the excess of these sleeves. So feel free to do that as well because it would look really good. Ta-da! See? It's really nice. So I double sleeve them, yes. And then I do have a binder. Sometimes I also use a top loader, such as this one. But it's entirely up to you on how you prefer to safeguard your photo cards. Okay, but feel free to ask me either in my Shopee, Twitter, or Facebook. But yep, thank you for watching, and if you have any suggestions on what you want me to review next, feel free to inform me as well. Okay, I guess the next one that I'll be reviewing would be the album sleeves because I do have acid-free album sleeves and OPP. Okay, but anyway, that's it for today. Ciao!